Hello, I'm Neale. Welcome to the beginning of the rest of your life. Every day is that, of course, but not quite the way this day is that. This day is the beginning of the rest of your life in a new way. And so, in a sense, it's the beginning of the rest of your new life. That's because, beginning on this day, in just a few moments, in fact, you're going to be challenging yourself to recreate yourself anew in every golden moment of now, in the next grandest version of the greatest vision ever you held about who you are. I want you to think about those words. They capture what you are told in the Conversations with God series of books is the very purpose of life itself. It's the reason we're all here. It's why God created us here on earth and why physicality exists everywhere in the universe. This is the solution to the greatest mystery of all time. Why are we alive? And the solution is offered in just 25 words. So I'd like you to think about those 25 words because they're not insignificant. I'll say them again so that you can really absorb them, so that you can capture and embrace their deepest meaning at the depth of your being. The purpose of life is, okay, here come those 25 words. Recreate yourself anew in the next golden moment of now, in the next grandest version of the greatest vision ever you held about who you are. Now, if you don't have any vision about who you are, you're going to be throwing darts in the dark. You're going to be aiming at a target you can't see. You're going to be reaching for a goal that isn't there, that you have not yet defined, that you've never even created. This will produce an experience without purpose, and it will feel like an existence without purpose. Your time here will feel aimless and lacking in direction. It'll also feel lacking in results. For many people, this is the story of their life. Get up in the morning, do what you feel you have to do, get through the day as best as you can, then go to bed at night and wonder, what was that all about? What was the point of it all? What's the purpose? What's the intention? What's the outcome that's most desired? You might find it amazing to know that a huge percentage of the world's people are living this way. Exactly this way. They have no idea what their desired outcome in life is, and they're trudging on a road to nowhere. A few years ago, I wrote a book titled The Only Thing That Matters. The first paragraph in that book contains the following sentence. 98% of the world's people are spending 98% of their time on things that don't matter. That's kind of sad when you think about it. It's also the reason that so many people experience life the way it is. On this particular day, then, all of us get to ask ourselves a question. Are we content with the way our life is right now? If nothing changed in terms of our forward movement in the process of our own evolution between now and the day we die, would we be okay with that? I don't know about you, but for me, the answer is no. I want to move forward, ever forward, in the process of becoming the fullest expression of my true nature. I'm sure you feel exactly the same way, or you wouldn't have signed up to take the challenge that I'm placing before all of us today. I'd like to take just a moment right now to explain to you why I'm doing this, and to share with you just a little of my story. May I? When I was 49 years old, which is now a quarter century ago, nothing in my life was working. My career had reached a dead end, my relationship was falling apart, and my health was rapidly going downhill. And one night, in a fit of despair, I couldn't sleep, so I got up, found a yellow legal pad on the coffee table in the living room in front of me, picked up a pen, and began writing an angry letter to God. What does it take to make life work? What have I done to deserve a life of such continuing struggle? And somebody tell me the rules. I'll play. Just give me the rule book. It was then that I heard a voice over my right shoulder. Neale, do you really want answers to all of these questions? Or are you just venting? Of course, there was no one there. I looked around and there's no one there. So I thought to myself, great. It wasn't bad enough that I was sitting here writing an angry letter to God. Now I'm going out of my mind. But then a strange thing happened. I suddenly felt very calm. My whole being was filled with a kind of peace that I'd never known before. Then I began receiving answers to all of the questions that I had asked. It was as if someone was whispering in my ear, or perhaps more accurately, that I was listening to what I could only describe as a voiceless voice inside of my head. It's something like the voice of your own thoughts, except that these thoughts were thoughts I had never had before in my life. They were clearly coming from somewhere else, not from my memory, not from anything I'd ever heard or read or been told before. So I began writing down everything that I was hearing. For me, it was very much like taking dictation. And the more that I was receiving this way, the more questions I had. So I found myself writing my questions on a yellow legal pad as fast as the questions came to me. And the answers would come just as fast as well. And there I was. There I was in the middle of the night, writing as fast as I could. Question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. Until I filled up the entire pad of paper. In the days and weeks ahead, I filled up many yellow legal pads with questions and answers. As a favor to me, a friend of mine who earned her living as a secretary typed this handwritten material into a computer document, which I then sent to a publisher. I really hadn't started out to write a book. In fact, that was the farthest thing from my mind. I was undergoing a personal, private process. I received a very interesting message, however, at one point in this process. And the message was this. I was told these words: this will one day become a book. And then I remember thinking, now that's something I can measure. All the other information I was receiving was conceptual in nature. It was abstract, theoretical, unprovable. But here was something that I could measure. This statement provided me with an observable outcome. It would either become a book or it wouldn't. That gave me a way to verify the validity of the information that I was receiving. So I sent the typewritten record of this dialogue that I was having to a handful of publishers. I knew, of course, that there wasn't a chance in the world that anyone was going to see my private notes and say, wait a minute, hold the presses. We got to get this to print at once. This guy's talking to God. But in fact, that's exactly what happened. And the rest, as they say, is publishing history. The book went on to sell more than 1 million copies, to be translated into 37 languages and to be read around the world. Meanwhile, my conversations with God were continuing, and I continued to keep a record of it. And when I was asked to publish them as well, I immediately agreed, because I could not have kept the information that I was receiving to myself any more than someone could keep it a secret if they had received in a moment of inspiration, let's say, the cure for a deadly disease or a sure way to bring about world peace. And it's for this exact same reason that I created the special challenge quest that you're participating in now. I knew that I was going to spend the rest of my life making sure that I placed this information into as many hands as possible, as fast as I could. And so these messages have now reached your hands. But please, let's be clear about something, shall we? This is not a course of study. This is not an individual course that you take like you would if you were in a school of some kind. This is actually an individual personal challenge. The program does not include data in the form of lessons, as you might expect in a formal study course. Rather, it offers data in the form of guidance, bits of information that can guide you on your way, placed before you to provide you with an opportunity to move closer and closer to the completion of your life's purpose, which is to express your true identity in fullness and to know your divinity, not as a concept, but as an experience. I believe this material was placed before you by your soul. I don't think it's serendipity. I don't think it's a coincidence, nor do I think it's a sheer stroke of luck that this very unusual program came to your attention and that you decided to sign up for it. I believe it's your soul's intention that you will awaken your mind to who you truly are, that will produce behaviors which will awaken possibilities in others to know and experience who they truly are. As we begin this journey together, I invite you to eliminate all expectations for this quest, and while you're at it, for life itself, replacing those expectations with anticipation of the excitement and the sheer joy of self-expression and creation for yourself and for the world that you touch. Nothing creates pressure and moves you farther from joy than expectation, but anticipation creates exuberance. So let go of any expectation you may have regarding this program right now and replace it with anticipation. If you've read and enjoyed or even heard about the Conversations with God books, you may be excited to know that this personal challenge is built around the messages in Conversations with God Book 4, Awaken the Species. This is a totally unexpected dialogue that was published nearly 20 years after what was thought to be the final text in the Conversations with God series. This brand new dialogue contains a list of major differences in the behaviors of an awakened species when compared to the behaviors of most of us who are living in an unawakened state. Each day, you'll be given some important assignments designed to propel you forward. These are an integral part of the program. It's where accepting and meeting the challenge to which this program invites you takes place. It's where your commitment to your own evolution becomes real. Okay, here we go. That's the assignment. That's it for today. Welcome to the program. I'm looking forward to seeing you on day one. There's something quite extraordinary going on here. Most of us don't even know what it is. We don't know what it's about. We don't even know it's happening. But it is happening. Every moment of every minute of every hour of every day, it's happening. It's life happening all around us. And here's what not very many people really fully and deeply understand, much less appreciate. It's happening for a reason. There's a purpose behind it. There's a mechanism in place. There's a process that's being undertaken in life, by life itself. And that process is the process by which we, as the livers of this life, as those who are living into the experience, create the experience we are living into as a means of experiencing and expressing who we really are. That life exists in all of its forms. The beauty of the night sky, the wonder of a garden of flowers, the incredible expression of humanity itself, the feeling of love, and the glory of a great idea which has just come to someone and exploded within them, an awareness of something that they can't even name, but they can feel. Ah, they say, that's me. Even as they see the night sky, they see a part of themselves there. There's a way to relate. Even as they see the flowers in a beautiful garden, they can see themselves there. There's something of beauty in me too. And look at this. I'm merely looking at myself in another form. And even as we look at other people, we can relate. And we say, there I go, being human, being wonderful, being glorious, being divine. There's something quite extraordinary going on here. It's a process, not only by which we experience ourselves as divine, but by which we define what divinity is to us. Can you imagine a process like this? We're actually creating God through the process of being God as we are choosing to create it. That's what's happening. That's what's going on. That's the miracle of life itself, flowing through you, in you, as you. And once you understand what's going on, the purpose of all of it, the divine process, you take part in it in a brand new way. Not unconsciously, but consciously. Not unintentionally, but intentionally. Not accidentally, but on purpose. And you see every golden moment of now as an opportunity to recreate yourself anew in the next grandest version of the greatest vision you ever held about who you are. And if you do that only for a short time, for an hour a day, an hour a week, an hour a month, your whole life will suddenly make sense to you. And you will touch the world in a way that brings sense to the world. That's how life itself changes and becomes the miracle it was intended to be when you decide to be the miracle you were intended